security in the smart home. I think it is aptly scheduled between panels about growing your IoT business and the expanding demographics of the smart home, because this topic touches those issues very closely. First, I would like to thank our sponsors for today. Without their support, we would not be able to have these kinds of discussions and hopefully continue to move the industry forward. My name is Ross Rubin. I'm a senior contributing analyst at Parks Associates. I wrote a report a little bit a few months ago about unified interfaces in the smart home, and so I'm really excited to be digging more into this topic because, of course, it has a high relevance to that. I'd like to share some data that Parks has developed. First, though, I wanted to talk about three sort of sub-themes that we're going to be discussing on the panel. Balancing functionality, security, and usability. A lot of those topics have come up in terms of design goals for smart home products. Designing products with regulatory constraints in mind, really a big issue, particularly for smaller players. And then we're going to talk about the power and potential of AI and some of the challenges that it poses. But first, I wanted to share some some data from Parks Associates with you. Elizabeth alluded to this earlier, how we're seeing the average number of connected devices in U.S. internet households rise up to 17, according to the most recent data. One thing that I find interesting is the rise in health-related devices, particularly since 2020. That, of course, is particularly relevant to privacy and security. That's the kind of data among the kinds of data that you really want most protected. In addition, I wanted to share some consumer feedback or consumer opinion about personal data security in their smart home products, with a majority saying that they are either concerned, that they are very concerned about their personal data security, and almost a quarter saying not concerned, which I also find interesting. So you can pick up a list of their names and social security numbers as you leave. And so with that, I wanted to introduce our panelists for today. First up is Jacob Alamat. He is Senior Vice President, Home and Life at Silicon Labs. If everyone could just give a brief intro about their company and a little bit about your role there in about 30 seconds, that would be great for intros.
Sounds great. Hi everybody, my name is Jake Alamat. I manage the Home and Life business for Silicon Labs. For those of you who don't know who Silicon Labs are, we're a semiconductor company. Our focus is on providing wireless semiconductor solutions for the IoT edge. That's all we do. So we build a portfolio of integrated analog, compute, wireless, and security, all in the same device to enable the connected home, the connected factory. Anything connected is what we're focused on. We not only build the products for it, but we're very active in the industry, helping shape where the market goes. Thank you, very happy to be here.
Great, thanks Jake. Next speaker I want to introduce is Kurt Busch, CEO of Sentient.
Thank you for having me. As I said, my name is Kurt Busch. I'm co-founder and CEO of Sentient. We are an edge AI enablement company. We build both machine learning models as well as silicon, and our entire purpose is really to move machine learning from something that happens into the cloud to something that can actually happen in the edge device. And by putting it in the edge device, we can greatly increase privacy, which is one of our topics for today. So thank you very much for having me.
Great. Our next speaker is Nancy Goldberg, EVP and CMO at Nagra Kudelski Group.
So Oh, there we
That is
go.
working.
So yes, I'm Nancy Goldberg. I work for the Kadelsky Group. We are known across the globe for very robust security solutions and really primarily access controls to different things. I think that our history has been around security and access controls for an operator for content, but we have moved in the last, I'd say 15 years to go across the globe and across different solutions, really focusing on security, access, and of course, today, privacy and everything that consists of.
Great, thank you, Nancy. The next speaker I want to introduce is Michelle Mindela-Freeman, who's COO of the Connectivity Standards Alliance.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you for having me. Again, Michelle Mindela-Freeman with the Connectivity Standards Alliance. We are an industry nonprofit driven by over 700 member companies to create standards for the Internet of Things. Those standards help knock down the barriers to things like interoperability, product security, data privacy, and I'm proud to be here with some of our fine member contributors on the panel today too. Thank you.
Great. And finally, I'd like to introduce Vikram Venkata-Subramanian, who is founder and CEO of Nandi Security.
Thank you for having me. Founder and CEO of Nandi Security. We make a product. Our product Kavlan is a whole home, smart home, online privacy and cybersecurity product for every device in the home. It's basically a cloud-based service that is app agnostic, device agnostic, router agnostic, internet service provider agnostic. So you have a fundamental layer of security and privacy across your entire home, irrespective of what device you have, what app or online service that you have. That's my day job. My voluntary job is also I'm vice chair of the subcommittee on human centricity within the IEEE group for next-gen connectivity systems and cybersecurity. And we are working on various initiatives around privacy in the home and privacy across privacy by design, etc.
So why don't we start off with that other hat, Vikram? I wanted to kind of throw it out to the panel a bit to get people's thoughts on the state of where we are in terms of consumers understanding this, the performance of the products in the field. Oh, we're getting some buzz. How would you, if you had to give out a letter grade today, how would you say the industry is doing in terms of getting products out there that are getting the job done, you know, and preserving consumer privacy and security?
Can I go for
Yeah,
this?
sure.
So fundamentally, huge lack of trust, right? And there's a transparency gap. So let me put some numbers around this, right? So average device is anywhere between 17 to 20, depending on the various kind of analysis. The average home makes about 50,000 requests a day to the internet, of which 10% is junk. On top of that, we hear from broadband service providers that homes are being constantly attacked by nation states and the devices are being converted to botnets. Then you have the whole spying problem. If I had a dime for every time I was on a plane and I said I'm from cybersecurity industry and somebody even asked me, is my phone listening to me? Right? There's a huge distrust problem, and there's a huge market gap in that.
Jake, as you talk to OEMs, companies building this connectivity into products, what are you hearing from them? Is there awareness of the need? Are you having to do a lot of education? What are some of the perceptions you're seeing?
It varies the range. There's some folks that actively see it and are actively investing in it, and also recognize that it's not a one solve, that it has to be
Right.
a solve that happens across the industry, because any attack surface that you have can be the thing that makes the whole house of cards fall down, right? So from a device maker perspective, from an ecosystem perspective, I think the awareness is there. There's varying levels of maturity in terms of being able to action it. One of the big things we see that's important though is working with those leaders that have that maturity, know how to go drive that. How do you use that to build into standards? We're very active in the CSA. We're very active with some of the government areas. But then for other device makers that are just trying to add a value proposition, how do you make security easy, which kind of goes to some of the things that we do with the Kadelsky group. The interesting thing, though, just back to your question before, this is a big thing that consumers don't think about today. And it's a looming challenge, right? There are grade. What's out there today, it's not very secure. It could get a lot better, but from a consumer awareness perspective,
So you really
that's gotta
think
go
that?
up.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
can I just
yeah,
jump in?
sure.
Do you really think that the consumers don't think about this? Because I get the sense that they do. They feel a bit hogtied thinking, I don't really know what I can do about it, and it's all beyond me, and oh, somebody else will figure it out. I do think they think about it.
And I have data to back that up. We ran our own market survey 4 years back. Much smaller data set, I admit. 84% of people check the box, I am helpless.
Yeah. And I think that's, to me, I think they are thinking about it, and from an industry perspective, we're just not really developing for them. We're developing because we can, and we're developing because there's a lot of really cool things you can do today, but are we really developing with that consumer in mind and thinking about what's actually going to enrich their life and their existence, or are we just, is it still a little bit of a state of frivolous
There's evolution.
activity?
Absolutely.
Sorry.
But people don't, they might feel helpless, but they don't think about it. If the behaviors are still to use those services, to speak as you would in your house and then get that Facebook ad, like, where did that come from, right? And they're, until it actually impacts them in a real way, do you see that change in action? But you're absolutely right. We as an industry have got to continue raising that bar and making it easy to scale across.
I think the consumers are making conscious decisions. And if you look at devices that are in the home, there are devices that listen, such as Amazon Echoes, and those seem to be relatively well received. It's the, people make the decision of, this thing's listening to me, but it adds a level of usefulness that I'm okay with. I am still a little concerned with the Facebook ads showing up. I play a game with my kids, is let's talk about the most obscure thing we can think of in front of our phones, and it'll show up in Facebook within 5 minutes. Things that we've never searched for. So maybe someone explains to me how that happens. But it's a little bit creepy. But there's other devices that say have cameras. So Microsoft came out with the Xbox Kinect a few years ago. It was not very successful. And largely because it had well, not largely, but at least in many folks that I had talked to and we had done surveys about, is that people did not want to have a camera looking in their living room. So it was okay, I made the conscious decision that, listening, okay, I can live with that. Watching me, that's kind of creepy, I'm not gonna do that. And we see that again with our security business, is that we supply a lot of AI for both cameras and both software and hardware for the security business. And people don't want cameras inside their house. They're fine with cameras outside of their house. So there definitely is a consciousness on the consumer's point of view of what level of privacy am I willing to give up.
So Kurt, that's a great point about how perceptions evolve over time and how consumer tolerances evolve over time. Michelle, a lot of the companies